Nightmare fuel isn't always monsters under the bed. Sometimes it wears a power suit and answers to Madam President. Let me tell you, there's nothing quite like realizing your arch nemesis is the head of your own HOA, armed with a stolen key and a god complex. Imagine coming home and finding out someone's been strolling through your living room, touching your stuff, and calling it community safety. If karma had a favorite color, I'd bet good money it'd be cobalt blue, because that's exactly what she wore the night she got caught. But let's rewind a bit all the way back to that grim little clubhouse where dignity went to die. Beige walls, flickering fluorescent lights, coffee that tasted like burnt regret. Those meetings could drain the life out of a circus clown. I'd plopped into a chair with more creaks than a haunted house, Sam beside me. My wife, partner in crime, the only one in the neighborhood with both an encrypted firewall and the patience for my stubborn streak. She had one eye on her phone, probably scanning our security feeds, pretending to be anywhere else. See, skipping an HOA meeting is a rookie mistake. That's how people wake up to bylaws about their inappropriate flamingo placement or how high grass is now a federal offense. That night, though, the air was different. Thick electric the way it feels before a tornado spins the world sideways. All eyes were glued to the front where Karen Granson, HOA overlord, platinum hair sprayed to a lacquer finish, stood clutching her clipboard like it was the nuclear codes. She tapped the microphone a sound sharp enough to shave with and said, "Thank you all for coming." The kind of thank you that promises nothing good. I muttered to Sam, "Brace yourself, here comes the neighborhood purity patrol." She didn't look up, but the corner of her mouth curled. Karen launched into her opening act, all syrupy concern about safety and property values. My hackles went up. Then she dropped the bomb, Bylaw 7C quarterly garage inspections. A murmur rippled through the room. Dave, the local butcher, with a heart of gold and nerves of a chihuahua, tried to pipe up. Karen pounced, "Excellent question, David," and explained how the board would now be inspecting every garage for clutter, illegal businesses, or signs of forbidden life. That slow boil in my chest started up. This wasn't about safety, it was about Karen needing to peek into every corner that didn't belong to her. Now I know my own flaws, never been good at shutting up when I should. Before I knew it, my hand was up, my mouth running ahead of my brain. Karen's smile got tight as a drum. She remembered me, John Winter, serial tomato planter, public enemy #1, for painting my door one shade too bold. We'd been at it for years. She called on me like I was a toddler. "Yes, Mr. Winters, all saccharine and threat." "It's not a question," I said, standing so fast the chair squawked. "The answer's no. You're not coming into my garage." "Not now. Not ever." Dead silence, except for the old air conditioner rattling its last breath. Karen's eyes turned glacial. She tried to throw out that tired line. "If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear." I bit back a laugh, let my voice drop low. "I'm not scared. I just don't want a clipboard tyrant poking around my life." That word tyrant hung there like a slap. Somebody gasped. For a moment, Karen's mask cracked. Rage, then pity, then nothing. She moved to vote. Of course it passed. Her cronies voted yes. Most people just looked away. You could practically smell the fear. She gave me a look on the way out, a smirk that said, "Your move." Stepping into the cool night air, Sam squeezed my hand. "We'll bump up the security." I nodded. I might have won the shouting match, but the real battle was just getting started. What followed was a masterclass in petty warfare. Packages went missing, the paper ended up in the bushes. Sam teased me for being paranoid, but the security footage told the story. Karen's white SUV up and down the street like a bad penny. She wasn't just watching, she was circling. And then the twist, a stranger hanging around our gas meter fiddling, gone in 60 seconds. Suddenly I remembered after the new HVAC install a lock box with a spare key was left outside forgotten. My stomach sank. The box was empty, fresh scratch marks on the latch. I'd been compromised. Sam pulled up the smart lock logs. There it was. Manual entry attempt failed. Not a pro job yet. But now Karen knew she needed a better copy. I realized right then this wasn't about bylaws anymore. This was a personal siege. Changing the locks was just step one. Sam, who has a mind like a chess grandmaster and a mean streak to match, wanted more. "We need proof," she said. So we set a trap. Picture this, a spring-loaded bucket, industrial dye tripwire across the door. Cameras everywhere, including a fake sprinkler head with a perfect shot. A sign that basically screamed, "Enter at your own risk," and a police report filed for good measure. 3 days went by, nothing. I started to wonder if maybe she'd found a new target. Then, bam, there she was, live on camera. Clipboard in hand, dressed in a suit so white it looked like a threat. She slid a key into my lock, smirked at the warning sign, and pushed open the door. The bucket did its work. Cobalt blue head to toe, including that helmet of hair and the sacred clipboard. She shrieked a sound you could hear halfway across the county and stomped off, dripping and furious. Sam uploaded the footage. It spread like wildfire. For a brief shining moment, we were legends. Then came the retaliation, a fat stack of fines for paint violations, her own footprints, hazardous conditions, and cherry on top, harassment of a board member. $2,000 of bureaucratic vengeance. And just when I thought it couldn't get more absurd, our power was cut only hours, middle of the night. A call to the power company revealed the work order came from the HOA office. Next day, our Wi-Fi tanked Sam found a jammer in the bushes. It was official, we'd crossed from petty feud into organized campaign. Then came the muscle. Gus the handyman, with the personality of a pit bull and the brain to match, showed up at 1 a.m. waving a work order and trying to push past me. When Sam chambered a round in our emergency shotgun, Gus's courage vanished, but now there was no denying Karen was willing to go as far as it took. We needed a smoking gun. Sam upgraded our surveillance to a whole new level: cellular cameras, mesh Wi-Fi, backup, everything. I planted a decoy safe hidden in plain sight, packed with bricks and an RFID tracker. Nate, our neighbor and local newswire, was accidentally tipped off that I'd stashed valuables at home. The bait was set. We staged a date night, left watched from afar. Sure enough, a van rolled up, Gus broke in, and the safe disappeared. The tracker led us to a pawn shop. Sam confronted the owner with video footage. He handed over the safe and a copy of his security tape showing Gus making the drop. Gus was just the muscle. We needed to tie Karen to the heist. The twist: that blue-stained clipboard. In a bake sale photo on the HOA Facebook, there it was, stained and all right in Karen's hand. The final piece was the neighbors. Once Mrs. Gable shared how Karen and Gus had conned her out of thousands for bogus repairs, the rest of the block started talking. By the time we finished, we had a binder full of witness statements, video, GPS data, the works. Instead of going straight to the cops, Sam found a recall clause in the bylaws. We needed 25% of the neighborhood to sign a petition, got nearly double. At the recall meeting, I took the podium, told our story, then let Mrs. Gable have her say. People started shouting, sharing their own run-ins with Karen. She tried to sick Gus on me again, but Nate, bless him, tripped Gus with a cane. Chaos erupted. The recall vote was set for the block party. Now Sam is nothing if not theatrical. She rigged 4 buckets each with 5 gallons of blue dye on porches overlooking the street. Remote triggered, linked to a big red button. The event was live streamed to half the county. At 2 p.m., Karen and her crew marched up to the voting table, looking ready to bulldoze anyone in their way. When she slammed her hand down, I hit the button. Blue monsoon. Karen, Gus, her cronies all drenched on camera. The crowd went wild. Laughter, cheers, years of tension breaking in a tidal wave. Cops rolled up right on cue and arrested the whole lot. The board was out, fines were voided, and suddenly people remembered how to smile at each other on the sidewalk. For weeks it felt like the air had changed, lighter, easier to breathe. Potlucks popped up, blue gnome figurines appeared on lawns as a quiet joke, and even the grass seemed to grow greener. But the real lesson: standing up isn't about winning. It's about drawing a line and refusing to be stepped over, about remembering your dignity matters more than your lawn. One golden evening, just as I was thinking life had finally quieted down, I checked the mailbox. My thumb came back blue. Fresh tacky, too small to be Karen or Gus. She was locked up, Gus had fled, but someone else was out there. A calling card. Game on. So here's the part that keeps me up at night. Where's the line between justice and revenge? When does standing your ground turn into starting a war? I want to hear your stories. Tell me your battles, your victories, your lines in the sand. Because if there's one thing I learned, it's that power is just an illusion, right up until the day you say, enough.